Choosing Family by ginnyrules27. Chapter 37. Mal ran back to her dorm room, determined to grab Maleficent's spellbook and start working on that antidote. After that performance, she knew it was only a matter of time before her mum found out that if she didn't already know. Gods, I'll be grounded until they find a way to kill a god, so basically forever, Mal thought as she entered her room. Why? Mal nearly jumped out of her skin at hearing her brother's voice in her head. Even after 16 years, she still wasn't used to the mind link. Granted, she only really started using the mind link when she was about 13, so really, it shouldn't be that surprising that she wasn't used to it after only 3 years. Haddie, what in Dad's name are you doing? Apparently finding out something that can get you grounded. I didn't know that was even possible. So, why would Mum and Dad ground you until they found a way to kill a god? You're not going to let this drop, are you? Nope. I hate you so much right now, Haddie. Love you too, sis. Now, you gonna quit stalling and tell me, or should I just tell Mum that there's something she needs to talk to you about while she's in Borodon? Mal sighed and shook her head. Fine, but you need to swear to me that you won't tell Mum or Dad. Pirate's honour, Haddie. There was silence on her brother's end, and Mal couldn't help but think she'd gotten out of actually telling her brother what had happened. Alas, her luck couldn't have been that good, as Haddie came on the line soon after. Mum wants to know why Prince Ben was singing to you. How does Mum know about that? She said it was on AuraTube, whatever that is. All the gods are talking about it. It's quickly gaining views. Does this have something to do with why you'd be grounded? Yes, Haddie, it does. I don't blame you for not wanting Mum or Dad to know. They still treat me like I'm an infant, sometimes with their safety rules. I get they're centuries-old gods, but they do have to accept that we're actually growing up, right? Mal had never wanted to hug her brother more in her life. Of course, the innocent mind of her 10-year-old little brother would go far more towards the slightly overprotective nature of their parents, rather than something more cynical. Like the fact that Mal had spelled Ben. Haddie, can I get back to you? Mal asked as she grabbed Maleficent's spellbook. Sure thing. I'll just be here watching Dad yell at pain. It's amusing to see how orange he can get. You are so weird, little bro. Takes one to know one, big sis. Mal snorted in amusement as she closed the link to her brother, and quickly whipped through the pages of the spellbook as she searched for the antidote to the love potion she had given Ben. Smiling slightly as she found it, Mal dog-eared the page of the book and shut it, ready to go make the antidote. Before she could turn to leave, however, her eyes caught a glimpse of Blueberry lying on her bed, face covered by her pillow. Mal was no idiot. She could see that despite Blueberry's best efforts to hide it, that the other girl was crying. She must have left the stands the minute Audrey had announced that Chad was her boyfriend, but Mal didn't remember seeing her leave. She remembered the feeling of wanting to murder the blue-haired girl as she hung on to Mal's arm, jumping around while Ben put on his performance. The only reason Mal had been standing next to Blueberry in the first place was because Lonnie saw her when they were on their way to the game and invited her to sit with them. Lonnie apparently had been one of the girls who got a clothing makeover by Blueberry that the Sleeping Brat had been up in arms about. Mal had just rolled her eyes but tolerated the blue-haired girl's presence in favour of cheering on Jay and Carlos, along with Akia and Emil. And Ben. Crying over Charming Jr.? Seriously? I mean, I get you want a prince, but have some standards, woman. Mal thought, making sure that her mental link was secured and that she hadn't accidentally connected to anyone. Last thing she'd want was for her mum or dad to hear her. Uma would be nice, though. Her snug would be well appreciated. She still missed her cousin. She couldn't hide it. Mal had a piece of paper under her bed that ticked off the number of days until Ben was king and he could start inviting more kids over. Plus, Uma coming over meant that Mal would no longer have to room with Blueberry. A win-win in Mal's book. Still, watching Evie cry over Charming Jr., Mal wasn't going to lie. It was hard to watch. She was the only one who got to make Blueberry act like that. Female VK and forced roommate privilege. Blueberry, are you okay? Mal asked, and Evie lifted her head in shock. Mal didn't blame her. She was still shocked that she was doing this. But evidently she was. Oh, yes, I'm fine, Mal, Evie said softly, quickly wiping her eyes. Mal shook her head. You're a lot of things, Princess, but a good liar you are not. Why do you even care? Evie muttered, glancing downward. You've got Jay, and now Carlos. You don't need me. Mal sighed, but walked up to the other girl's bed. We're VKs, she said after a moment of silence. I may not particularly like you, but we're the only VK girls here. If anyone messes with you, they mess with me. That sort of thing. You mean like safety in numbers? Evie asked, as if daring to hope what she was hearing was right. Mal couldn't help but smile a little at Evie's hopeful expression on her face. Maybe she wasn't so bad, Mal thought, and then paused. Oh God, I think Ben and Mia and Akia were rubbing off on me. Still, maybe I had been a little hard on Blueberry all these years. Besides, being petty over not being invited to a party when we were 6? What am I, the dragon? Shaking her head slightly and wondering why she even cared over whether or not she had been cruel to the other girl since she had known her, Mal sighed. Evie, no one's been giving you a hard time, have they? What did you call me? Evie asked after staring at Mal in shock for a few minutes. Evie. Last I checked, that was your name. Unless you want me to use your full name, Mal shrugged. First Carlos, now Evie. Why was everyone shocked when Mal used their first names? I didn't even know you knew my name. The number of times you and Uma have called me Princess or Blueberry. Evie sighed. But to answer your question, Mal, no. Other than Audrey's comment about me not having royal status and Chad playing me for a fool, no one's been giving me a hard time. We sure one of Gaston's kids didn't somehow get adopted by Cinderella? Mal muttered. I don't see how that would be possible, but Chad certainly acts like it. Evie sighed. Mal nodded before taking a breath. Maybe she'd been in Auradon too long, but it was time to at least offer an olive branch. At least, while they roomed together, no one got to mess with Blueberry except for her. She meant Evie. Yeah, that was going to take some getting used to, the whole calling the brunette by her first name thing. Wait, we're calling who by their first name now? Do you ever have the mind link on mute, Uma? Of course not, Molly. Now, why are we referring to Blueberry by her first name? Not now, okay? I'll explain everything later. Okay, why is Aunt Steph asking me if you've said anything about Prince Beastie, quote, giving you his kingdom for just one kiss, end quote? I'll explain later. But later! You know, I bet if Sleeping Brat had the ability to sew like you do, she wouldn't need to put other people down to feel better about herself, Mal said softly, ending the conversation with Uma and bringing herself back to her conversation with her current roommate. Evie couldn't help but give Mal a slight smile at that. I guess I am pretty talented. Don't take this to mean we're friends, Evie, Mal said, but the usual hatred or apathy was gone from her voice. But maybe we could stop being enemies and start being allies? After all, like you said, there's safety in numbers, and we are the only 2 VK girls in Auradon. I'll take that, Evie said softly, looking over at Mal. Anything's better than being terrified you're going to fry me when you walk into a room. Mal snorted. The thought might have crossed my mind, but they frown on murder here. Plus, my parents would have grounded me the minute your soul found its way to the underworld. Mal, Evie asked after a minute of silence, if Lady Persephone and Lord Hades are your parents, as you said, why did you never say anything on the Isle? Mal sighed. Look, I know you've got questions, Evie, but we're not there yet. Jay knows because we've been friends since I was 5. He was there through it all. Carlos is in the same boat as you, information-wise. Oh, Evie said softly. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not saying I won't tell you, Mal said after a few minutes. Especially if my mum comes to family day. We're not at that point yet. However, I can tell you that you're probably not going to have a smoke bomb come your way anymore. At least not one thrown by me. I'll take that, Evie sighed. I probably won't be lucky enough to have the same deal from Uma when she comes over here. She'll probably be in the next group. I'll be happy for her, of course, but part of me wishes Dizzy could come over sooner. Dizzy? Dizzy Tremaine, Evie explained, and Mal nodded, knowing exactly who Evie was talking about. Dizzy, also known as Celia's cousin, was a ball of energy that had the most contagious smile that ever existed. How she was related to Anthony was something that confused all who met her. Hey, Uma. Yeah? You gonna tell me why Prince Beastie wanting a kiss from you? Not right now. Hey, do we have Dizzy under protection? Considering she's Celia's cousin? Yes. And the Wolf Rats know she's under protection. Okay, stop. One, why are you calling Tremaine by her first name? And 2, why are you making sure she's under protection? 1, because I also call Anthony by his last name and I don't want to confuse the two. And 2, Ben asked me to be his date to coronation. He did what? Sorry, Uma, gotta go. Oh no, you do not get to. Mal quickly muted her mental link and tuned back into her conversation with Evie. She knew she'd probably pay for that later, either by Mum grilling her or by a smoke bomb from Uma. But it was worth it. The mental link was not the best place to try to explain to Uma that she was entering into a tentative alliance with Evie. Hey Mal, Jane and I are going to grab dinner. You wanna come? Lonnie asked as she popped her head in. Sure, Mal nodded. Evie, you in? Evie paused as if not expecting an invitation. I thought... Evie, it's dinner. We might not be friends, but you still deserve to eat, Mal said, rolling her eyes. Besides, the boys are probably gorging themselves on Victory Pizza right now, so it's not like we need to grab them. Speaking of boys, Mal, Ben's performance is the talk of the school, Lonnie said. Yes, and thank you, Lonnie, for whirling me around when I was trying to leave, Mal told her as the 3 girls started to make their way to the cafeteria. As Lonnie began to tease Mal and Evie started chuckling, Mal never realised she had forgotten the main reason why she had been rushing to her room in the first place. The antidote to the love potion. Well, Mal thought, after triple checking that her mental link was on mute, I can always make the antidote tomorrow. Jane Carlos are with Ben, so it's not like... Why did I already forget those 2 participated in that number this afternoon? Okay, new plan. Panic! But not in an obvious way. Last thing you want is for people to ask questions. She resisted the temptation to murder Evie this afternoon. She wasn't sure how well her willpower would hold a second time if Ben continued to act the way he had. Especially if Sleeping Brat tries to confront me, Mal thought as she walked into the cafeteria. I will gladly turn into a fireball if that's what it takes to get her off my back. Hey, Jane, Lonnie smiled at a small girl with an unfortunate bob hairstyle. Mal nodded. She'd met Jane before, but hadn't been the most welcoming of hosts. Considering Jane was palling around with Evie at the time, and Mal... Well, maybe it's better she didn't dig up the past. Hey, Lonnie. Hey, Mal. Hey, Evie, Jane said with a smile as the other girls sat down next to her. How ridiculous was that game today? Mal bit back a grin as the other girls chuckled. She should have expected that. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Okay, so this is really mature of Mal. Burying the hatchet. Realising how similar it makes her to Maleficent to hold on to that grudge. Her being kind to Evie despite hating her for so long. That shows real growth, and I'm very proud of her for that. And the true introduction to Jane, another one of my favourite characters. As much as I ship Ben and Mal, Jay and Lonnie, and Doug and Evie, Carlos and Jane was just so flippin' sweet together I couldn't help but ship them, so I can't quite remember how it goes, but I'm hoping they get together in this. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.